Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the SmartWeb sessions, my totally non-technical view of the smart web. In these short knowledge clips, I try to take non-technical deep dives into the smart web, its various components, practical use cases that are already live, and why it all matters. As always, this is not investment advice, but is merely used to share all the great stuff that the smart web has to offer to you as a consumer, but also to businesses who would want to use one or more of the many building blocks that the smart web has to offer. If you would like to take a more technical deep dive, then I would advise you to go to elastos.academy or elastosorchard.eu/learn. We support many different languages. Today, I would love to share one very recent and pretty amazing use case with you. GreenPass is a non-profit and community-driven dApp built by the StarryMedia team. So that is Brian and his team. They started this as a privacy-first solution around your most valuable data, your medical data and your location data. Of course, this can be whitelisted and it can be adjusted to the various needs of the various medical institutions around the world. But before we get there, let's fast forward to the near future. Because it really will not take that long before this lovely robot here will address your medical questions, and we will probably be okay with that. I mean, just look at that smile. But even though that this is bound to happen in the foreseeable future, how will we be convinced to share our medical data with this robot or with any real person for that matter? And do you happen to know how that's happening right now? Well, I can tell you that much of your medical data and your medical records are stored already on the Google servers. And they would love to, well, of course, use those insights to sell your data to big pharmas and insurance companies. Now ask yourself, do you want that? Or would you prefer to have a system where you have full control over your medical records, from your dentist to your optometrist and everything in between? And how would you feel about being able to bring those records wherever you go without anyone else having access to it without your permission? This is another use case that the blockchain is good for. And part of it is already made possible by some of the Elastos building blocks. Imagine that now, when you get sick while traveling abroad, you will have to see a doctor or maybe even need to go to a hospital. So they will have no clue of who you are, what to test and what not to test, simply because they don't have any access to your medical history. It's not available, or at least not to them. You might have already had some tests done in the past, or perhaps you're allergic to specific medications. Now imagine a situation where the doctor that receives you has received these files beforehand in a very secure way. That would mean that they would have to do a lot less testing on your body, and yes, that will save you a lot of pain, quite literally. In fact, it might even one day save your life. But now let's get back to the world of today, because we are living in the midst of a global corona pandemic. GreenPass was born during the corona crisis as a bottom-up approach, because in quite a few countries, everywhere you enter, your temperature is being measured and you will be asked where you've been recently. Why? Well, just to make sure that you don't accidentally make anyone sick. In other countries like the US and the UK, governments want to actively track your location data for various purposes, including tracking and managing the corona outbreak. Or at least that's the narrative now. However, will they give you back your data after the corona crisis is all over? I'm not too sure about that. And don't get me wrong, because we need to do everything we can to make sure that as many possible people stay safe from this threat. But don't you think that the emphasis should be on the we? Shouldn't we make sure that we keep each other safe and not 100% forced by the government? Well, that was why GreenPass was born as a dApp where you can keep track of your own location data and your temperature records where you can measure each other's temperature and verify it to gain credibility without sharing this data with anyone else. Because when you make an appointment with someone or at a restaurant, the restaurant owner doesn't need to know anything else besides knowing that you are, say, corona free. They need to know that you're healthy. Because if you're potentially ill, you might be a risk for her employees, right? Now, let me quote David, who is another very active Elastos community member living in Dubai. He says, I am absolutely amazed why we wouldn't hold our own medical data. I have 4 different files from 4 different providers, and well, that's insane. I don't even know what they do with the data or whether it's all consistent or different. Let's take responsibility and control of the only thing that really matters, apart from our family, which is our health. Brian adds that we could extend the GreenPass app into a health capsule inside the ElastOS so that I can have my own personal health data saved on my own cloud storage. For example, every 3 months I visit my family doctor, have my weight, temperature, and blood pressure taken. The data is signed off by my doctor and then stored in my cloud storage. In 20 years, whether the drug doctor is still in business or not, it doesn't really matter because I will still have my own health data for other doctors to refer to. Now, before I briefly tell you a little bit more about how it works, the feature that the app has right now, and what will be added in the future, I want to tell you a little bit more about the team behind the app. Because by now you wonder, how will they will be able to make any money out of this or manage this whole app being non-profit and without a real business model? Well, do you remember that I said in the beginning that in the final version of the app, you should be able to manage and keep control over your own medical data, taking it wherever you go? Well, we believe that owning your own medical history is a basic human right. The moment you use an app that's built for commercial purposes, the business behind it will want to use your data, your lifelong medical history, and we cannot accept that. So the goal is to have the maintenance of the app funded by the Elastos community. So we, as a community, will take care of that so that everyone in the world, every business, and every person can benefit from it together. So how does it work now? And what can we do already with it? And what does a bottom-up approach actually mean? Well, the version 1 is already available to you, and you can pretty much keep track of your own location data, and you can add your own temperature data as well. You should measure this daily. By doing this, you will get a code. A green code, which means you're safe. Yellow, you need to update something. Or red, you need to stay home. You might be sick. So you can also verify each other or be verified by an official party. These kind of readings that give you more credibility to your scores and makes your status stronger. Now, when a doctor or perhaps a security guard or shop owner measures your temperature at the entrance of the store, she will be able to verify you and add this data, which gives you a green status. That way, we keep each other safe. It's brilliant. Next to that, you can use the app to make appointments at an office, a store, a coffee shop, your doctor, or even with friends. This way, you know beforehand that the person that will see you is not a risk for you, and vice versa. Because you can see that the score is green, hence GreenPass. You see, if we do this together, we do not need to depend on governments to force us to give away our personal health data or our location data. We verify ourselves and we verify each other. And in between, we can still have official parties that verify and add the data for us as well. We keep each other safe while keeping our data privacy and while making it very difficult to cheat the system. We verify each other. So I do have a couple of more very interesting insights that I got from a person called Mr. Organic. Is an active Elastos community member who is an American Polish professional working on implementing GreenPass in his company. And what he says is that There are more use cases to this. First of all, you can use this as a store management tool, which is pretty interesting because you can have your staff fill in and monitor their daily data, and you can use that to prove that your store is COVID-19 free. That's a pretty good sales argument, isn't it? You can also have your store owners, for example, verify the data as well to make the data more reliable. Next to that, you can use this tool as a whole new customer relationship tool. So you can add it to the customer journey. So you can minimize the walk-in when you prefer appointments to make things safer. So each store can create their own location in the GreenPass app so that anyone, any customer can make an appointment with you. Upon arrival, you scan each other's barcode, you see that the barcode and the score is green, so you do your business in a safe way. Imagine this, and this is the coolest insight that it gives. This means that every store becomes a community mini center. So you can actually use this as taking the lead in fighting the COVID in your community. This will be great for the company image. It will definitely increase the customer satisfaction. But imagine this, using this app could also be a way to actually further build your brand. It can be very good as a brand building tool. So why not use it? So when you need to do an exam at your university, you do want everyone to have the green status, right? And the same goes for when we're actually ready to restart our economy, when we want to go back to the office, when public transport starts, or when we want to take a plane. We want to make sure that everyone around us has the green status. And this is the best, most reliable way to do that. It's beautiful. So we believe that GreenPass is a huge benefit for business as well, because it is also our concern to make sure that we can restart our businesses and restart our economy. We should make sure that businesses can open their doors again in a safe way. So businesses can add this tool to their store, to their office, and they can add their locations to the location list so that anyone can make an appointment. And this can be anything from an airport to a local coffee shop. The benefits are great, and we need to make sure that we can get our companies start running again. So with GreenPass, it will be easier for consumers to go out, stay safe, but businesses will also be able to keep an income stream going. They will be able to deliver their services and serve their customers in a responsible way. There will be a tool coming up for business owners, which is a GreenPass console, where it will be easier to manage your staff's data and get some very basic insights into their data as long as they give you access to it. So there will be a GreenPass for business coming out very soon as well. Anyway, let's leave it here because I think it's clear now that the benefits of using blockchain to track and manage the corona outbreak and to get our businesses going again are great. These are very difficult times, but in these difficult times is also when innovation happens. And I believe that this innovation will be potentially of great added value to all of us. Think about this, and if you like this, spread the word. In closure, thank you again for your time, and if you like this, please remember to vote for the Orchard Supernote, and of course in this case, make sure that you vote for the DMA Supernote, who is doing all the work for us for free.